Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. Hopefully, you had a phenomenal week last week. I'm Brad. He's Justin. This is I Could Be Wrong Saturdays. Good to see you, bro. Hopefully, you're having a good start to your morning.
You too, man. So far,
Yeah,
so good.
glad to hear it. Yeah, we're definitely having a kind of a slow start to our morning, like we were just discussing, just kind of
Yeah.
easing into the weekend. Um, I'm watching.
Still drinking my
Been
coffee.
There you go. I've been watching some of the early prelims for the UFC. It's on
Oh,
way
nice.
early today. Yeah, pay-per-view starts at 2 Eastern, 11 Arizona time, because they're over in Abu Dhabi or somewhere, I think. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so got up early for that and then spend the day watching some college football and all that good stuff. So uh went to sleep last night after I watched the first of all, congratulations to the Dodgers and Blue Jays, but went to sleep after I watched game one of the World Series, well, the end of it. And The Blue Jays absolutely erupted in the sixth inning. It was 2-2, and then in the sixth inning they scored 9 runs.
Wow.
Ended up winning, I think, 11-4. Shohei had got a 2-run homer later in the game, but wasn't enough. So congratulations to Toronto on their first
Nice.
World Series game win since 1993, when Joe Carter hit the
Woo.
walk-off home run to win the World Series.
Dang.
So game two is later today, and I think this series is probably going to go 6 or 7, to be honest. I could be
Awesome.
wrong. I could be
That'd be
wrong, but
nice. Be nice to see
yeah,
Dodgers lose.
yeah. For once, I'm going to root for Canada to beat America in this situation. But yeah. Hey. All right, let's talk some football. Obviously, week 8 started on Thursday with the Minnesota Vikings visiting the LA Chargers, and basically Minnesota's offensive line and their entire team got dominated by the Chargers on Thursday night, especially the offensive line. They gave up 5 sacks. They were only able to generate 34 rushing yards as a team, total 164 yards. So that just lets you know that quarterback didn't have time. They didn't generate a run game. It was pretty rough for Minnesota, obviously. I think they are hoping JJ McCarthy gets back soon. I don't know how much of a difference that'll make because he only had a couple of good quarters in the 2 games that he did play. So
Yeah.
on the flip side, Herbert looked phenomenal, 3 touchdowns, QBR of almost 100. He was at 96.7, which is uh, about as high as you can get. And then
Yep.
they found their running game, like we talked about Saturday or whenever we got there. I'm sorry, Wednesday when we talked
Wednesday.
about it. We said that they would need to get their running game going. They found a running game with Kimani Vidal, who ran for 117 yards and a touchdown. So Chargers offense looked pretty solid. One thing that was concerning to me, and then I'll open it up to you, what your observations were from the game. But one thing that's a little concerning to me, mainly because this guy's on my fantasy team, Quentin Johnston, 0 targets. He played 38 snaps, so about half the snaps on offense. 0 targets, and after getting at least 70 yards in each of the first 4 games of the season, he has 70 yards combined in the last 3 games. So a little concerning there to see his target share kind of drop and see his production drop down. So for those of you that have him on your fantasy team like me, we hope that turns around real quick. So I'll turn it over to
Yeah.
you over some of your takeaways from Thursday's game.
Well, I'll start right there actually with your Quentin Johnston assessment. The way I see that not backfield, I was gonna say backfield, but the way I see that wide receiver room is like a crowded backfield
Yeah,
because you have three quality receivers, and on any given week or multiple weeks, Herbert could be rolling with the hot hand.
yeah,
Lad had 6 catches for 88 yards and a touchdown
yeah.
this
He
game.
had a good
Whereas
game.
when Quentin Johnson was balling, Lad wasn't performing very well.
Yeah,
Keenan Allen actually has been the most consistent receiver on the year. Not as far as like I'm not saying the best,
yeah,
right? But as far as target share,
yeah,
production throughout the game, like his role has just been consistent in every game versus where early in the season, you saw Quentin Johnston getting the getting the targets
yeah.
and the touchdowns. And now we're seeing the reverse where it's Lad. Lad was taking a back seat earlier. And so It's going to be up and down with that receiver room. I think they're going to be flex worthy regardless. Like if you have them on your
Yeah,
roster, you play them as flexes. Um, their running game did really, really good. They, breaking off a lot of chunk plays. And on the Vikings side, their run game did the opposite. Like I say, I mean,
non-existent.
they were really bad. So credit to the Chargers defense. And Wentz came into the game hurt. He got hurt again in the game. He just didn't look right. Getting
Yeah,
sacked 5 times is not the ideal situation for a quarterback who's playing in a game hurt already. And you could just see it. Like when he came out, his shoulder was all messed
yeah,
up, or his arm. He was on the bench, and in a ton of pain. And he played it out. So kudos to him. But I
yeah.
don't think he didn't put his team in the best position to win because, or I guess the coaches didn't
Yeah,
even in that
the
situation
coaches. Yeah,
put the team in the best situation to win by keeping him in the game. So that's my takeaways.
yeah, I agree. I think, and I've been saying it since the beginning of the season, and I know that a lot of people may disagree with me, but I think Kevin O'Connell is slightly overrated as a coach. Again, I think he makes questionable decisions at the most crucial points in games. And that was another poor decision last in this last game on Thursday was to leave Wentz in there. I know it doesn't matter whether you at that point when the guy is hurt like that, you got to protect the player more than worry about winning the game. I mean, you still got to worry about winning the game, but you got to protect the player. It's the guy's out there giving it everything he's got. You could tell that he shouldn't be out there. Probably ought to take him out of the game and just you know, bite the bullet on that one. You're getting your ass kicked
Exactly.
anyways. You're not gonna. And who knows? Maybe the backup comes in and surprises everybody. But
Possibly.
what was happening definitely wasn't going to get it done.
Yeah.
And I'm
I mean,
I think another questionable decision, and again, I understand why they did it, is because he's a veteran and he had a solid year last year. But I think just instantly inserting Aaron Jones right back into the starting lineup, I think had an impact on their running game as well. It definitely had an impact on Jordan Mason. He had like 4 yards rushing, I think, and one catch for 3 yards. So he really did nothing. So yeah, interesting decisions by the Vikings. But I will
yeah.
say
I mean,
this,
got a
McCarthy,
question. Oh yeah.
McCarthy's knee looked pretty good when he was dodging the guy on the sideline over there and then celebrating the first down. So I think he'll be back soon.
Oh, you didn't have to worry about being behind an offensive line.
Oh yeah. That offensive line is bad. It's really bad.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, hey, sorry, Minnesota. You're in trouble. Let's go ahead and jump over to some fantasy boomers and busters. Obviously, as I mentioned, Quentin Johnston was a fantasy buster for me on Thursday night. And as well as Jordan Mason. I had both of those guys on my team. So I've already started the week with two roster spots gone and 1.5 points. So not looking good for me. But let's jump over to the rest of the week. And I want to know who you got to boom this week.
Bro, I'm going with my guy CMC every week now. Every
Okay.
week now. Just get some CMC, bro. Put him in the game, coach. And I know that's the easy pick, but is it really though? Because Houston's defense is not bad. They're pretty good, one of the top defenses. And
Good.
so
They are.
I'm just gonna go with CMC. I'm gonna go with CMC as a boomer.
Okay. I like it. And I definitely would not be upset if that happened for sure. As you can tell. Uh,
Yeah.
so, and I think it's very possible. I mean, obviously we saw, and we'll talk about it later when we talk about the 49ers game, but I think we saw what we all expected. Last week we saw what we all expected to start the season. Obviously, the 49ers been dealing with injuries, but with back, I definitely think it's a possibility. So,
I'll give you another one that's not so easy, but the
okay.
kid's been playing really good. Tight end Tyler Warren, and I'm a little biased here because he's on my fantasy team. He's on all my fantasy teams. I drafted the guy because I knew he was going to be a baller. But going against the Titans, who have really, really, really bad defense, just a really
Yeah.
bad team. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm actually expecting the Colts to put it on these dudes. Uh, JT will probably have a big game, but I'm gonna go with Tyler Warren as well as a boomer.
Yeah. So for those of you that are not listening on Spotify or wherever you catch your podcast, but you're actually watching, you may have seen that I just threw my pen down here on the desk. When I was getting ready this morning for us before we started recording, I had a couple of names written down that I was going to run by you and say, hey, I think this guy might be a boomer, and I have another one that might be a buster, or that I'm going to predict it's going to be a buster. And the boomer that I actually wrote down was Tyler Warren. He's projected currently to get roughly 13 points, depending on how your league scores. In our league, he's projected to get 13 points, and I think he's going to blow right by that. Like you said, they're playing the Titans. It is, as you can tell, National Tight End Day tomorrow. So I expect to see a lot of tight ends in the end zone like we did last year and the year before. And Tyler Warren's probably going to be one of those. He may get in a couple of times against Tennessee. So I like that one. So, all right, cool. I agree with that. Any other boomers, or want to jump over to the busters?
I mean, I have a few. I mean, you could go DeAndre Swift against the Ravens.
Okay.
He's had a couple of good weeks in a row coming out of their bye week. And we all know the Ravens defense is good. They could have cleaned it up on their bye week, right? They're
Yeah,
coming off a bye week, so they could have cleaned it up.
yeah, we'll
But
see.
I mean, we'll see until they show otherwise. I think that could be
Yeah.
another boomer. If you
Okay.
want to go compared to last week's production, George Kittle, it is National Tight Ends
Oh
Day.
yeah. Yeah.
And he had what, zero targets last week,
One target. I think one
one
target,
target.
zero catches. Yeah.
So, you know, might be a good day for him to get back on track. So plenty
Yeah.
of opportunities.
Yeah.
And you got a revenge game, Saquon versus New York, possibly.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
will say this. I'll also add with George
what do you
Kittle.
got?
Just George Kittle. I want to go back really quick. He had zero catches, but if you were looked at our, if you for those of you that follow us on Facebook, if you have a chance, if you haven't seen it, go take a look at the pancake block put on one of the defenders, where when they rolled over and the camera zooms in, George Kittle's just got the biggest smile and laugh on his face that you can imagine, because he enjoys blocking people that much. So it was beautiful. So yeah, I think for sure that they're going to game plan some passes George Kittle's way this week.
Oh yeah,
I would be
it wouldn't be
shocked.
National Tight Ends Week without it,
No,
or
I would
day.
be yeah, I would be shocked if he has a similar game to last week. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's jump over to some busters. Who do you have that you think may not meet expectations fantasy wise this week?
Well, probably not a lot of guys starting him, but CJ Stroud's going to have a rough week. He's got no Nico Collins. He's got no Christian Kirk. It's going to be rough.
Okay.
Um, they're playing a tough 49ers defense, even with all the injuries. They are a tough defense. I'm going to say bust on Scatabo,
Okay.
whatever you want to call him, going against a tough Eagles defense. This game, I am not expecting. Oh, well, that was against the Cowboys, so I guess that doesn't matter. Jalen Carter
Yeah.
to get ejected.
Yeah.
But yeah. So,
Well,
but
Jalen
their
Carter did
defensive
miss the
line.
game against them. He did miss the game against them, though. I think he was sick or something like that.
Oh,
I
okay.
I believe that he missed that game.
Well, if he's
Uh,
there, I mean, obviously it makes a difference. That's a tough defensive line,
yeah.
and so Scattaboo, temper your expectations against a pretty
Okay.
solid Eagles defensive line. Um, Zay Flowers. Um,
No, no, don't say that.
yeah. Well, I have him in my lineup too, but only because I have guys on by, and
Well, Lamar's supposed to come back, so well, he's on track to come back. So
he's
we'll
on
see.
track. Yeah, I did get, I
Full
think, full
participant
practice
yesterday.
in
Yeah,
yesterday,
full practice yesterday.
so we'll see. But I don't know. I think it helps out
Okay.
Derrick Henry having Lamar back more
Yeah.
than the receivers. To be honest with you,
Okay.
those guys will really feed off of each other.
Yeah.
So Zay Flowers.
All right. Well, I don't like that. I don't like to hear that. All right. So I have one I want to throw out there. I want to get your thoughts on. I think you may have him on one of your teams, so you may not want to say this guy is going to bust. But currently projected to get roughly 20 points against Atlanta, Devon Achan. I
Oh,
think
I don't
with
have him on any of my fantasy
no,
teams.
no, okay. I have a feeling that Minnesota's offense, obviously they're struggling. I have a feeling that they're going to try and lean on the run game, and Atlanta is going to focus on the run game and make it really difficult for him this weekend. So I predict that Devon Achan is going to be a fantasy buster this week, mainly because I need him to be a fantasy buster because I need somebody on the team I'm going against to not have a good day. So I picked him.
Yeah, well, they rely a lot on him in the passing game as well. So I think that's where he's going to do most of his damage. He might get close to 20. I don't think he's going to be a boomer, but he's
Okay.
just such a heavy volume. He's not, I'm not saying he's good as Christian McCaffrey. So don't get me wrong
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Usage wise, though, they use him a lot like that.
Yeah.
And so I just think based on volume, maybe he's a bust candidate for sure. Falcons defense will want to get back on track, but
Yeah.
that's just kind of a tough one, I
I'm
think.
calling it. I'm saying it. I'm gonna say it's gonna
For
happen.
your sake, because you're my brother,
Devon
I hope he busts
Achan
like a mofo.
bus. All right. Perfect. Um, speaking of bus, let's move over to the Dallas Cowboys and Denver Broncos on Sunday. And when I say speaking of bus, obviously we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys defense, which is the worst defense in the league as far as total defense. And then they are number 30 in scoring defense, giving up just over 29 points a game. I will open it up to you first. What are some of your thoughts on this game? What do you expect to see? And who do you think comes out on top?
I think Dallas comes out on top. I think they have a better offense.
Okay.
Denver's defense is good, but they're not great. And Dallas's offense is operate at a very high level right now. And I think Javonte Williams is going to want to take it to Denver for letting him walk.
Uh,
Maybe he wanted to walk in free agency. Who knows?
Very possible.
But they always kept him cooped up, with the
Split
backfield
backfield.
committee.
Yeah.
And you see Dallas just unleashing the dude. I mean, he's having a great year
Yeah.
right now. And so I expect the Cowboys to win, mainly because with Denver, you can expect them to take some risks. And even though Dallas's defense is the worst, I think that because Denver does like to take some risks, they can just find themselves making some mistakes, like throwing an interception or having a fumble. And I think that will be the difference in the game.
Okay.
Um, going to be some points put up. I'm going to go, I'd say Dallas 28, Denver 24.
Okay. Um, I, I can't. This is a coin toss for me, to be honest with you, because you're right. Dallas's offense is obviously playing at a super high level. They're a number one total offense and number two scoring offense in the NFL. So Um, I mentioned it last Monday. I think if they had a winning record and they were like really blowing teams out instead of winning these close games, I think Dak Prescott might be the runaway MVP candidate right now.
Yeah.
What I think the game is going to come down to, so I was doing my research, right? And I was looking and a couple of things. I got one little tidbit that I think is just kind of interesting. First off, Dallas hasn't beaten Denver in seven straight games. The last time they beat them was in 1995, which is crazy. I know they've only played seven times, but still, Dallas for some reason can't beat Denver. I also, when I was doing my research, Dallas and Denver both have only given up 8 sacks on the season each.
Oh, wow.
Now, on the flip side, Dallas has gotten 15 sacks on defense, whereas Denver has gotten 34 sacks already this year.
Oh, wow.
Nick Benito has 8 by himself. He's leading the league. So I think that's where the game it's going to come down to whichever defense can generate a couple of sacks, put the other offense in a poor position, is going to be the winner. I'm going to say Denver wins. I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to say Denver wins because they're playing at home. And that's really the only reason that I'm picking Denver. I really think
Okay.
that like I said, it's a coin toss game. I think that it comes down to Denver's defensive line being able to put a little bit of pressure on Dak, making it difficult for him, and maybe getting a turnover that seals the game.
Yeah, man, I can't argue with the logic. I mean, Denver, there's only a couple teams that have a true home field advantage. Denver is one of them because the altitude, obviously, in
Yeah.
certain parts of the, or not certain parts, certain times of the year,
Yeah.
teams in Florida have a good advantage because of the humidity. Like,
Yeah.
so some teams do have that home field advantage, and Denver's one of them. So I could see that.
Yeah. Like I said, that's really what it boiled down to for me is they're at home. And I feel like when they're at home, that's going to benefit their defense, right? Crowd's going to be loud, trying to make it difficult for Cowboys offense. Defense is going to be able to get off the ball maybe a little bit faster. But when I see the difference in the sacks, I think that might be the turning point. But who knows? I would not be surprised if Dallas wins because they can score like nobody's business. So,
Breaking: Lamar Jackson will miss his third straight game.
all right. Well, I may have to change my pick when we talk about that game. All right, let's move on to another game. This one here, I picked this one just because it's a fun game to talk about. Green Bay and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers facing the Green Bay Packers for the first time since he left. I believe he was scheduled to do so in his first year with the Jets, but obviously he got injured and was not able to do so. So I'll be very honest with you. I have just two stats for this game because I think you can throw the stats out. I think this game comes down to which team's stars are going to show up. Is it going to be Rodgers, DK Metcalf, and TJ Watt? Or is it going to be Jordan Love's, Josh Jacobs, and Micah Parsons? I think that's really what it boils down to is which stars show up in this game. I think obviously if Pittsburgh can protect Aaron Rodgers, kind of limit and slow down Micah Parsons and that pass rush, give Aaron Rodgers a little bit of time to throw the ball, Pittsburgh's got a chance to win the game. However, Pittsburgh's bigger issues are on the defensive side, as we talked about last week. And based on what we saw when we last saw the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers to win this game. Um, the two stats that I had is the fact that Micah Parsons has 5.5 sacks and TJ Watt has 4 sacks. So just to kind of give an idea of how much of an impact they're making on the defensive side of the ball. Um, I feel like when you think about like you watch the games, there's not much of a difference, obviously, in the number 5.5 and 4, but it feels like the sacks that Micah Parsons has gotten have been at bigger moments in the games, like the overtime sack against against Dallas, and then a couple last week against Arizona at crucial moments. Feels like he's made more of an impact when it matters. And we really haven't heard a lot about TJ Watt this year at all. So, so I'll open it up to you. What do you think is going to happen? What do you expect in this Aaron Rodgers Bowl?
Yeah, so personally, I have no skin in the game. Actually, that's a lie. I caught myself in a lie. I got DK in this game, but
Oh,
that's
okay.
okay because that plays right into what I was going to say is this is going to be a complete revenge game. I got no stats. Aaron Rodgers is going to come in. He's going to mollywop the Green Bay Packers. He's going to grab a terrible towel at the end of the game and put it over the top of a cheese head and be like, nah. But for real, though, I do think that
Yeah.
the Steelers are going to win.
Okay.
Um, they'll bounce back. It's going to be a very good game. But I do think that Aaron Rodgers will come out just firing, man. He's one of those guys. I think he's going to have a little bit of ego involved in it. He's gonna want to come out, put it on him, and walk away, be like, yeah, just like he did with the Bears. He was like, I own you, I own you. He's gonna
Oh
he's gonna
yeah,
have that luxury of going in there as a Steeler and beating them.
yeah. I agree with you on that as far as his mentality. Again, this is another toss-up game for me. I actually initially picked Green Bay, but you may talk me into picking Pittsburgh instead. Um, but I also agree with all the like, the players that have the players that have been like on the show, like all the morning shows and things like that, the ex-players, right? That
Right.
have played against former teams. And they all are like, Aaron Rodgers is full of it. He's playing it down like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not a revenge game. But when you think about the way Aaron Rodgers left Green Bay, right? They didn't tell him that they were going to draft Jordan Love, right? He
Right.
doesn't have a beef with Jordan Love, but there's still some people in that front office that are there when they drafted Jordan Love that I'm sure he wants to stick it to, right?
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think that he may come out scorched earth, Aaron Rodgers, as they like to say, and it's very possible that he has a great game, which would benefit you if he hits DK with a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I'm going to switch my pick. You're right.
Ooh.
All right, I'm taking the Steelers at home to beat Green Bay in the Aaron Rodgers Bowl.
There we go.
You talked me into it.
Hey, listen, Aaron Rodgers scorched earth could, we could see some fireworks. But
Very
that could be
possible.
one of two ways. I mean, we've seen the dude go scorched earth and throw a couple of bad interceptions in a game too, a la
Yeah.
Cincinnati Bengals very recently.
Oh, yeah. Well, one was definitely really bad. So, um,
That's true. Because the other one was a really, really good
yeah,
play
that
by
was
the
yeah.
DB.
DB has made an insane play. So, all right, let's jump over to a team that is chasing the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. So let's talk about the Chicago Bears going against the Baltimore Ravens. I picked this game because you got the Bears who are looking like they're on the way up, and you got the Ravens who are looking like they're on the way down. Very proud team though, full of veterans, full of guys that have earned awards and done a lot of things in the league. You just mentioned, unfortunately for them, their starting quarterback Lamar Jackson will miss another game, so that definitely has an impact on the game. But I want to open it up to you. What do you expect and what are you looking for in the Chicago and Baltimore game?
Chicago's been looking a lot better these last few weeks. They really got their run game going finally, and that's helped open things up a little bit for Caleb Williams. And you know, Baltimore was already struggling on defense really bad. The fact now
Yeah,
that they got to compete with that and they're going to be missing Lamar for another week, I just don't think that they're going to be able to overcome the momentum that Chicago has. Chicago's a good team. They've got a lot of talent on their roster. Their defense is good. Their offense is getting better week after week. They've got young talent. Caleb Williams is playing good. Odunze's been playing good. This last few weeks
yeah,
actually been a little bit down, but I'm sure he'll pick it back up. But DeAndre Swift has been playing great these last few weeks, which I mentioned to you. And I think he's going to have a big game in this one. And so I'm going to take Chicago
okay,
24-17
all
because
right,
I don't expect Baltimore to be able to put up a lot of points. I think
okay,
what Cooper Rush is going to be starting for them probably.
yeah,
He started for them last week.
yeah, he's their backup, I
And
believe.
so and they didn't look good. Would they score 3 points?
Yeah, they scored 3 points against LA in their last game.
Yeah, last week was their bye, so I guess the week
Yeah,
before that. So
yeah,
I don't yeah, it's hard for me to get on board with them winning.
yeah. Yeah, initially, before you just broke that news to me, I had Baltimore to win this game. But I had I agree with a lot of the points that you said. Chicago, obviously, a lot of momentum. They've won 4 games in a row. Um, so, anytime you win 4 games in a row in the NFL, it doesn't matter who it's against, you're doing something right. And after looking like they were discombobulated and absolutely lost in the first game or two of the season. they've obviously turned it around and like I said, are going in the right direction. Baltimore 1-5. We know obviously not the start any of us expected them to have coming off their bye week. And I thought with Lamar getting a full practice yesterday that he would play. And I thought this had an opportunity for Baltimore to kind of get right after coming off a bye week, having extra rest, extra time to prepare. Now with Lamar out, going back to Cooper Rush, again, I agree with you. I think it's going to be difficult for their offense to generate a lot of points. I don't see them moving the ball up and down the field or anything like that. Really puts a damper on my Zay Flowers fantasy hopes. That's for sure. Thanks a lot there, buddy.
Yeah, mine
Uh,
too.
and so but what's gonna be the difference in the game? I think if you take away all the Lamar of it and everything like that, it's what you mentioned. Chicago's run game is really good. They average 129 rushing yards a game. Baltimore gives up 134 rushing yards a game. So, I mean, that's strength versus weakness right there. We know the game is usually won in the trenches. Bears are probably going to try and run the ball quite a bit, open it up for Caleb to hit Odunze, when it's available on the play action. Um, both of these teams, I think, they'll need this win. Obviously, Baltimore needs it because they can't afford to lose any more games. Like, especially if Pittsburgh does end up winning, Baltimore can't fall another game behind. They're going to be toast basically. Even with 2 games left against Pittsburgh, it's going to be almost impossible for them to catch up when you look at the schedules between the two. Um,
Right.
but I think the Bears also need this game now as well, especially with Lamar being out, because
It's a
if
good
they go
opportunity.
yeah if they go into Baltimore and they lose the game with the backup quarterback in there, it's going to almost eliminate all of that momentum that they've built up over their 4-game winning streak, in my opinion. Now, if they go into Baltimore, backup quarterbacks in there, they handle business, they win the game, they go to 5 straight, they should be feeling really, really good about themselves. And it solidifies them as a legitimate playoff contender in the NFC and
Yeah.
potentially a threat for their division. I obviously think that
Yeah.
Detroit's gonna win it in the end, but if they're 5-2, 5-3,
They got a
it's gonna
shot.
it's gonna be tough to say, hey, they don't have a chance at all. So yeah, I think this
Right.
is a big game for Chicago. Um, and before the Lamar news, I was going to pick Baltimore, but now I'm flipping. And I'm taking the Bears. I don't know what the score is going to be, but I'm taking the Bears. I will say also, let me add this to it really quick though. The last game that Baltimore's defense played, they played against the Rams. We know how good the Rams offense can be. They did, for the most part, hold them down. They only gave up 17 points and 241 total yards. So if they can get that from, something like that from their defense, maybe it keeps them in the game.
Yeah.
Maybe King Henry goes off.
Could be.
So, all right, let's jump over to the last game that we're going to talk about before we get out of here. And that's obviously our 49ers versus the Houston Texans. You mentioned it. Both teams are dealing with injuries. They are missing key guys all over the place. 49ers, it's the usual suspects. It's Purdy, it's Pearsall. They're missing. No news on when Ayuk's going to be back. We know about the defense. Unfortunately, Bryce Huff was added to the injury list on the defense last week. He's our leading sack getter right now, so that's going to make a difference, I believe. But again, I'm going to open this one up to you. What are you looking for in the Niners game, and who do you expect to come out on top?
Well, I'm looking forward to two banged up teams giving it their all. Usually you can get a good product out of a game like that because those other guys that are stepping up, they're playing for contracts, they're playing for their future, and so I think we're going to see a good game here. Some young guys in Houston's receiving core are going to have to step up if they want to make a name for themselves. Some young guys in the Niners defensive side of the ball, shoot, and offensive side of the ball for that matter, are going to have to step up and you know, earn their money. I mean, at the end of the day, they're all professionals, and so I think it's going to be a really good game. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to be the centerpiece of the 49ers offense as has been for the entire season. He's going to be a boom candidate, like I said, and I I think George Kittle gets back on track this
Yeah.
week. Combination of that with the Niners defense, probably making it pretty tough on Stroud with a less than ideal receiving core coming into this game. I think the 49ers will pick up the W. Um, just we have better playmakers, I think, on offense available to us.
Yeah.
Wish we if we had all of our playmakers, it would be even much different story. But I think
Yeah.
we win a close game, 27-24.
Okay. Well, I could definitely get on board with that. I'm going to pick the 49ers to win the game as well. Um, you got obviously Houston's strength is their defense. They got the number
Yeah,
4 overall defense, number 1 scoring defense. They're only giving up 14.7 points a game. So, if your defense plays the way it's been playing, it's going to be a close game, obviously, which most NFL games are, but especially when you're going against a good defense like that. I think surprisingly, with all of the injuries that we've had across all fronts, the 49ers have only given up 8 sacks on the season, which is really, obviously, really, really good when you, again, consider the guys that have been missing. Pooney's been out a little bit. We've had some other guys banged up on the offensive line. Kittle's been out, who obviously makes a difference in pass protection at times as well. That makes me feel really good about the fact that although we are going against a really good defense, our offensive line is, for the most part, held up pretty well when it comes to pass protection.
right.
If we can get the same running game or similar running game that we got last week, right, and not what we saw before that, I think that obviously bodes even better for the 49ers. Um, I think what this game's going to really boil down to is what a lot of games boil down to is going to be the turnover. Whichever team protects the ball the most is going to win the game.
Yeah,
Um, Niners are -5 turnover differential. They only have 6 takeaways on the season. Houston is +4. They have 10 takeaways on the season. So if we can flip that on them and come out on top, obviously I think that's going to help us as well. Um, Bryce Huff being out, I mentioned, I think it's gonna just lead to it's gonna be imperative that Saleh continues to be creative with getting pressure on the quarterback, using safety blitzes, using disguises and things like that. And what I'm excited about is obviously Niners had D'Amico Ryan as a defensive coordinator. Kyle Shanahan's the offensive guru, right? I think we're going to get a really good look at what those 49ers practices were like when D'Amico was in the
mhm.
building and the Niners were on the deep playoff runs. I think we're gonna get a really good look at how those ones versus ones scenarios went in practice. And I think it's gonna
Yeah.
be a lot of fun, right? These guys know each other really well because they had to go against each other all the time in practice. So I think it's gonna be fun as well watching the chess match. I think we both agree right now that Kyle Shanahan is, if not in the lead for Coach of the Year, he's definitely in the lead pack. Obviously, you got
He's
Steichen
at the
in
top for
Indianapolis,
sure.
but he's up there at the top of the list with a couple other guys. So doing a phenomenal job this year with battling through all the injuries. So I'm going to take the Niners as well. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it might be a very low scoring game, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if neither team breaks 20. I
All
really
right.
wouldn't. So,
I mean, Houston
um,
defense is really good.
Houston's defense really good, and they're missing a lot of pieces on offense, which helps the 49ers defense out
Right.
and could limit the amount of points they put on the board. So I'm not going to predict that neither team scores 20, but it would not shock me at all if neither team scores 20. So
All right.
let's go Niners.
Woo woo.
All right. All right. Last thing before we get out of here, we are going to wrap it up with a segment called "I Could Be Wrong, but It's a Lock." And I'm gonna go first because I don't want you to steal mine, just in case maybe you did, like you stole mine. Tyler Warren is going to be a fantasy boomer. So, uh, Buffalo Bills. Last time we saw them, They were wrapping up a two-game losing streak before they headed off to their bye. Didn't look very good. Sky's falling. Everybody's anointing New England Patriots, the new and kings of the East again in the AFC. I'm here to tell you, in the words of a famous man that recently retired, not so fast, my friend. First of all, I think Buffalo's going to come back and win the division. That's a conversation for a later time. But I could be wrong, but it's a lock that Josh Allen throws for 3 touchdowns and Buffalo scores at least 32 points in a win versus the Carolina Panthers this Sunday.
Okay.
Carolina Panthers are the number 7 defense, only giving up 21 points a game, but Buffalo's coming off that bye week, got rested up. They've been hearing for 2 weeks that they're garbage, that they're no good. Josh Allen can't do it. Drake May's the new man in town. He's the new sheriff in the AFC East. And I think that Josh Allen comes out and reminds the entire NFL world exactly who the hell Josh Allen is on Sunday.
All right. All right. I like
So,
it.
so there
I
we go.
like it. Cool. Well, I could be wrong, but I have my guy. I'm showing my guy all the love this week. Tyler Warren is a lock for 6 receptions, 75 yards, and count them, two tutties. Give me my guy against Tennessee.
I like
It's
it.
National Tight Ends Day, bro.
National Tight Ends Day.
Come on.
National Tight Ends Day. And for those of you that have Facebook and follow us, we would love for you to go on and comment and let us know who you think will find pay dirt on National Tight Ends Day. Just scroll, find the post, and leave a comment. We'd love to know who you think is going to hit the end zone. All right, bro. With that being said, I got nothing else. You got anything else?
That's it.
All
Let's go
right.
Niners.
Let's go Niners. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap us up then. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, we certainly appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Download, take us on the go. And for those of you that are listening on any platform, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcast, again, don't forget to drop us a like, download, take us on the go, and tell your friends and family. We would certainly appreciate it. And with that, I will leave you with our final 2 thoughts. Division is a math problem. It should never be a people problem. And be kind. It is free unless you are talking to Cowboys fans. Peace.